So the Net Bible's good. There are others, but that's a very easy one you can cut your teeth on. My point is this. We are not afraid to say these things, and we shouldn't be. Because all truth is God's truth, and when we speak the truth, we shouldn't be afraid. All truth is God's truth. Number 8, God's providential preservation of the New Testament differs from his preservation of the Old Testament, but both have been miraculously preserved. Here's the difference. The Old Testament was preserved through God's people, the Jews, being very meticulous in how they handled it. They had the scriptoriums, they had the meticulous nature of copying, and I wouldn't doubt that there were some scriptoriums where if there was an error, they would throw away a copy. I wouldn't doubt that that is true in some instances. What I'm saying is that didn't always happen. When I said that was a myth, when I said that didn't always happen. But my point is, there was a very meticulous way that the copies of the manuscripts of the Old Testament were handled by the Jewish people, and they still are. The New Testament, however, has a different method of maintaining the tenacity of the text. And this is the method. We get it copied by as many people and as broadly as we can, and then it is impossible to change it. You know, when there's 100 copies of something, you can't just go out and collect them all and say, oh, we're going to make Jesus God. You know, Dan Brown tried to tell us that in the Da Vinci Code. He said that in 325 that a man came along by the name of Constantine, and Constantine gathered up all the manuscripts, burned them, and made his own Bible. This was the basis for. I did a whole week on the Da Vinci Code when the movie came out. I did a whole week on textual criticism and why that's not true. Why do we know it's not true? Because there were so many manuscripts out there, he could not have possibly gathered them up and made changes. It's just not possible. That's how we can know. Nobody could have made Jesus God if that's not what the text originally said, because it would have been impossible to make the change. It's one of the reasons we can hold to the text that we hold to. Because we know it has been sent out in so many, copied so many times, it would be impossible to make a wholesale change. And might I add, and I'm not here tonight to talk on Islam, maybe I'll come back another night and talk on the subject of Islam, but let me say this, that is not the case with the Quran. Third generation Uthmanic revision of the Quran, there was a wholesale change of the Quran. The Quran that is today is not exactly what was written by Muhammad. The Uthmanic revision, look that up, Uthman, U-T-H-M-A-N. There was a revision because it wasn't allowed to be copied as the New Testament was. They won't talk about that. And guess what Bart Ehrman said when asked about Islamic texts at the debate, sitting there listening? He said, I don't know anything about Islam. And he is the professor of religion at North Carolina University. Why would he say, I don't know anything about Islam? Because it's not politically correct to do so. But he'll come up and say, we don't have any idea what Jesus really said. When we have a text that we can truly say is the best documented text of the ancient world. We have a Bible that we can trust. We have a Bible that is open to us. And the original is here. There are variant readings, yes, but the original is here. As Dr. White made the point in his debate, one of the best points I think has ever been made. It's not like we have a 1,000-piece puzzle with 950 pieces. We have a 1,000-piece puzzle with 1,010 pieces. There are a few extra. We have to determine what is the extra, what is the variant that have been changed. But we cannot say we don't have the original, because we do. The original is contained within the manuscript tradition. And we have to study, and we have to study, and we have to study. And I think that's what the Bible tells us to do. To study, to show ourselves approved unto God. As workmen that need not to be ashamed, rightly handling this.